everybody, and welcome to the March 23rd Grafton School Committee meeting. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020, we're a year in, order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law GLC 30A-18 and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Grafton School Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of the members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. And this meeting is being recorded and will be available on Grafton Cable as well as the YouTube channel. And there is closed captioning available for anybody who needs it. We will take attendance and announce all the committee members and school officials and town officials on the call, and we'll have a roll call vote for all votes. All right, I'll do that right now. Laura Often is here. Jennifer Conley.
Jennifer Connolly here.
Amy Marr.
Amy Marr here.
Liz Spinney.
Here.
Rahul Rati.
Here.
James Dewar was here.
I'm here, yeah.
Oh, hi, James. You moved on my screen. And Annabelle Weber.
Here.
We have Jay Cummings.
Here.
Kristen Gasper.
Kristen Gasper here.
Anita Patel.
Here.
And visiting us tonight, we have Evan Brassard.
Here.
And we have Joe Armenti. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
And Betsy Levant. All right. And as we have been doing, we'll take questions via the Q&A only. We'll take one question and one follow-up per person, and we will not be reading any comments. We'll have Amy Marr continue to monitor the questions, and she'll read them after the committee has a chance to ask its own questions. And viewers can always email the superintendent and our committee members or reach out to us via our Facebook page if you have any other questions. So thank you. And with that, I am very pleased to introduce our new town administrator, Evan Brassard. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and welcome to Grafton. We're so happy to have you here. I know I did give everybody kind of just announce themselves, but maybe if the committee just wants to each say hello. I know you know some of us, but we can just do a round of the committee members first, if that's all right. So Jen, I'll start with you. Jen Conley's our vice chair of the committee.
Hello, Evan. So welcome to Grafton, and we're happy to have you on board. So I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
And Amy Marr.
Hi, Evan. Nice to meet you again. We were on a meeting together over the weekend, I think. Welcome to town. I hope you're enjoying it so far, and thanks for taking the reins and holding the ship steady. And someday we'll actually get to meet in person.
I look forward to that. Thank you.
And I know you know Elizabeth Spinney.
Hi. Good to see you again. Good to be working with you now.
Thanks, you as well.
And we have Rahul Rati.
Hey, Evan. Welcome,
Hi, how are
to
you?
Grafton. Welcome to Grafton. I know you're you're coming from western side, but slightly different, but it's good. It's a very good town. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it so far. Yes.
And we are very fortunate that we have two school committee members. We have James Dewar, who is our senior member.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, James. Likewise.
And we have Annabelle Weber, who is our junior. And they are both a senior in high school and a junior in, that's how we do it. Not that one senior or junior than the other.
All right. Very nice to meet everyone. Thank you for welcoming me.
So welcome. So Evan, do you want to give us a little introduction of yourself and how maybe you want to work with us? We're really excited to have a close working relationship with you and the select board and kind of have a collaborative environment between the schools and the town. So we're really glad to see you.
Thanks. Like I said, I'm happy to be here. I've always had good working relationships with the school districts and the towns that I'm in. I have met with Superintendent Cummings. I have no doubt that we will work well together. I think we had a really great sit down. I don't have any concerns there at all. I really like to work just with open communication. So if there's an issue, anyone is free to reach out to me at any time. I will get back to you or talk to you then, I guess. but I really just like to have a free flowing set of ideas, and we can all work together to try to get the best outcome for the town. I don't really carry any of that school versus town mentality. And I think, schools are one of the largest economic drivers for any community. So, beyond the importance of educating your students, for a town administrator, you can't have a thriving community without a thriving school system. So it's really how I've approached it. And I think we'll all work together very well here.
Excellent. Any questions from the committee? And Jay and Anita, I know you have already worked with Evan, so I didn't make an introduction, but does anybody have any questions or anything else they would like to say to Evan? I know I'm hopeful that once we get our schools up and running again, you'll be able to maybe do a walkthrough and get to meet some of our leadership team as well. And I know the kids always kind of like to meet people in the town. So hopefully that's something we'll be able to get in the fall where we can get you in if you have time.
Absolutely. I would love to.
Yeah, they're amazing places. And it's such a great way to really see how wonderful our district is to get in there. So be glad to do that for you once we can get in again.
Yes, hopefully soon.
Well, good. Well, are there any other questions or so we can maybe get Evan home? He's had a long day, but Evan, don't be a stranger too. You're welcome anytime. I know we sometimes overlap, but if you want to take a break from that select board, you're always welcome in our meetings. And I'm looking forward to a great, long, collaborative relationship with you. So thank you and welcome.
Great. Thank you. I'm looking forward to that as well. And thank you everyone for the warm welcome.
Was that a thank you? Not a question, right, Jay?
Nope. Just thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks, Evan. Appreciate you coming. Have a great night.
Talk to you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, and if the committee doesn't mind, we're going to move up our food service update just before the calendar revisions and district update. So it's my pleasure to introduce Betsy and Joe from Whitson's. I have to, even before you get started, I just want to thank you for the amazing work you've done this year and last year as well. You've really gone above and beyond to help our kids make sure they're continuing to be fed. And I know you've been rolling up your sleeves and jumping in wherever needed this year, especially. So thank you so much for that. And with that, I don't know who's starting, if it's Joe or Betsy or both.
I think I'll start first, and thank you for that. And thank you for having us. We started the year in the summer working with the district team on the reopening plans. We all stayed abreast on the waivers, the guidance that was coming in from the USDA and the CDC on how to handle feeding kids and what was needed. Then what happened after that is that we began training our team that was coming back. Obviously, not everybody was coming back, but the folks that were coming back, we conducted training on the new protocols and procedures for them, face coverings, hand washing, identifying symptoms, social distancing, sanitizing, disinfectant, how their interactions in the kitchen being, 6 feet apart. So there was a lot of training in the beginning. We also changed the service model to eliminate all self-service where kids were able to choose items. Now everything was packaged, prepackaged, individually plated, and that's how we began the year serving. And we continued to serve that way to keep meals safe. We also brought in the individual meals as well that folks were able to take home. So that was really helpful to keep things moving. And I'll introduce Betsy now to talk about what we're doing now and what we're doing to get ready for the new students that are coming back.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Hi, Betsy.
Good, because I don't do these things very often, so I'm not very good at it, but we'll just plow right through here.
You're doing great.
So, like Joe said, we did bring back a portion of our team at the beginning of the year. These are a dedicated group of essential workers who have really risen to the challenge that has been brought to them this school year to keep every student and family nourished without any interruption. So now we're focusing on transitioning from the hybrid service model to the full in-person. So we've been working with administration the past couple of weeks at Millbury Street and North Street, letting them know what the guidance is. And we're working on strategies to increase the physical space so we can serve the students without any interruption. Some of the schools, we've added additional lunch periods, and we've identified spaces within the buildings and also outside. So each school kind of has a customized plan depending on building capacity and layout and things like that. So we've identified the overflow spaces that we need to make sure that everyone has a seat at lunch. So that's a good thing. And actually, because we've had such nice weather this week, we've actually been able to go outside, which is great. Great. Right now on Friday, the designated Friday half days, we serve breakfast in school to the high school, middle school, Millbury and North Street. And then we also send home what we call the weekend bag, which contains 2 breakfasts and 3 lunches for the weekend. We are also feeding kids at the middle school who are staying late for what they call Friday Academy when they make up their work. So we have, we're able to serve them lunch as well in school. So we're hitting all the bases, making sure that we're taking care of everybody that needs it. And then we're also still continuing our remote learning program through the parent pickup.
Can you talk a little bit more about that, Betsy?
Sure,
Sorry to interrupt, but how many times a week is that?
We do it on Mondays and Thursdays from 9 to 10 or 2 to 3. So it's pretty flexible. So there's 4 hours. And then on Monday, we give out 3 days worth of meals. And Thursdays, we give out 4 days worth of meals. So we're able to cover the seven-day meals that we're allowed to.
At the middle school.
Yep. They pick up at the middle school behind the building. So we're doing right now between 50 and 60 students a pickup.
Wow.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah. So as more people, more students return to full-time learning, we may adjust our remote program. So we'll have to see what it looks like when all the kids are back in school. So the other good thing that we have for good news is that the meals will be free through September 30th of 2021. So we're going to start the school year next year with free meals.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah. Yes.
I have a couple questions, but I can open. Are you finished? Are you still going? Yeah.
No, that's about what we have at the moment. So what can I do for you?
I didn't want to be late. Are you finished? I didn't want to interrupt. I'll open it up to the committee before I ask my questions, but thank you so much. Actually, before I did want to ask if you could share what you did over the summer with giving out meals.
We actually started, I think it was back in March, the 17th, St. Patrick's Day of last year. We did a pickup 3 days a week out of Millbury Street, and we continued that through the school year. So our program ended in the school year.
Do you think you'll do it again over the summer this year with the
conversations that we need to have, definitely, which we'll probably have this week. So more to come.
Okay.
More to come on that.
It's really up to the district if you want to continue through the summer. So that's something we can discuss.
Right, and that would be funding.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and staffing.
And we can provide you with the numbers that we did last year. Give you a good idea of what you might want to do going forward.
Yeah, we can work with Anita on that. Yeah.
Great, that would be great. Oh, Liz, I saw your hand go up.
Yes, thank you. So this is a question from last year, and this is for anybody who knows really. Not having been on the committee in March of last year, my memory is a little fuzzy, but was there any fundraising outside of just using district funds? Was there private fundraising that someone had done to help contribute to this effort? I seem to recall something about that.
That's for paying off student lunch debt, Liz.
That, okay.
There's a fund there. So this was covered, I think, by federal funds, state funds, where we were able to have the free lunch programs.
Okay. It just,
Yeah.
I wonder if we need it later, if there might be a way to give the opportunity to the public to contribute to something like this, to keep it going if we need to, because it seems like there's a lot of interest amongst people who would be able to donate and to keep something like this going if we needed it. But
Anita?
Liz, I'm actually working with the same person that got the fundraising effort together last year. I spoke to her about 2 weeks ago. So we are going to try to do another fundraising effort through the public in order to raise funds for any deficit accounts.
oh, fantastic. Okay.
Last year.
But there shouldn't be any deficit accounts this year, correct? Because lunch has been free.
Correct.
So it wouldn't be for this year, but it would be for the previous year or years that just balance forward.
Okay.
Once
Yeah,
we,
because that's one thing that I just feel like gets very misunderstood in the public. There's always, just to backtrack a little bit, you see the articles where kids get cheese sandwiches because they can't pay their lunch. And that is something that we stopped a couple years ago. We don't do that. We get a hot lunch, but this is something on social media. As soon as someone hits that fundraiser, there's a lot of panic, which is great to see people really passionate about making sure our kids are fed and nutrition. But I just wanted to get that in again.
Yeah, there's legislation for next year to continue the free lunch. It goes right now, it's going to go to September 30th, but there's also legislation for Massachusetts to go free all of next year. And also the feds, the USDA is also looking into it to extend it the whole year next year. So
yeah, I actually have, and I meant to share with the committee, and I will do so after the meeting. I have some a kind of legislation that we can try to help sponsor that's trying to be passed, and that's something we can put on a future agenda if people are interested. I do think it's one of my passions, but I do think it's important, and I would love to see school lunch be free as part of the public school experience. I was going to ask Betsy and Joe, do you happen to have numbers on how much it's increased use of how many kids have used it this year that maybe haven't in the past, because it's so much more accessible this year?
You know, it's tough to figure that out because we have so many less kids in school we have access to.
Yeah.
So you'd really need to wait till everyone gets in school to really be able to compare. We hope that's going to happen. It seems as though the ones we have, the percentage of kids that are actually in school, a lot of them are eating, that's for sure. But we just don't have everybody back yet. So
right.
Once that happens, then we'd be able to compare. But they are taking advantage of it.
Good. I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about this. Sorry, any other questions from the committee? All right. Well, good. Well, thank you both so much. And thanks for your hard work last summer and last spring and getting everybody back and helping and serving lunch in a completely reimagined way this year.
Laura, I just wanted to echo that. You stated it beautifully, but Whitson's has been absolutely phenomenal to work with over the past year. Betsy has been invaluable for us. She's been incredibly creative, flexible, solution focused, and positive. We've worked around snowstorms, summer, like everything that's been thrown our way. Betsy and Anita, with support from Whitson's, has made it look easy. And it's just been a real tremendous value to the GPS community. So thank you.
Very welcome, Jay.
Well, that's terrific. Well, thank you both for coming. Appreciate it. Yeah, and I'll look forward to seeing the numbers on what it would take. Maybe that's where some of the fundraising can come in if needed to serve to some of our kids who might need some help over the summer getting nutritious lunches.
Okay.
All
We'll
right.
work with the Nina on that.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm sorry.
Of course, Rahul, of course.
Sorry about that. I don't know who would answer that. Maybe Jay might. Some parents came to me, but I totally forgot about it. They said they have already paid for the whole year to the Whitsons for the school lunch program, and they are remote and it's free now. So what happens to their monies that has already been paid?
They would, I would advise them to simply email Anita Patel,
Oh, okay.
and we'll work through that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, the money goes in the school's account.
Right.
It doesn't come to Whitson's. We don't have the money. The money goes into the school's lunch account. So that's where the money goes. It's not Whitson's account. It goes into the school.
Okay,
So they would be able to get it that way.
perfect.
Question. So while we're talking about lunches, because haven't been able to be in the buildings to see. So what kind they're still getting hot lunch, right? At school, if they want, is it the typical kind of lunch, but it's just served to them on a tray?
Yeah, they're getting two choices, and it's the typical lunch, but they're not getting it on the tray. It's wrapped in a box, like when you go to a Red Sox game and you get the
nice.
pizza in a box.
Yeah.
Things like that. It's all pre-wrapped. Ladies come out. We kind of joke and say it's like the airlines. You come out going up and down the rows, and they ask the students what they'd like, and then the ladies give it to them, put it right on the desk that they're eating at. And it's all contained.
Gotcha. Great. Well, thank you. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you both for coming. Have a great night. Hope you're able to enjoy a little bit with some more daylight and a beautiful night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you. Bye.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Nice to see you both. Thanks again for
Laura,
everything.
thanks. Bye now.
All right. Okay, next up, the calendar.
All right. So I just have a couple slides. Another calendar revision put before you for consideration, with the return to full in-person in April for the majority. Well, we know all the way up through 8th grade in April. With that triggers a return to the time on learning requirements, like the original, your year-to-year requirements around time on learning, and that's across the state. With that shift in time on learning requirements, we need to reduce the number of early release days. So instead of almost every Friday through the remainder of the year, we will need to shift the majority of them to full days. I would recommend that we hold on to the March 26th and the April 2nd. It's not until the 5th that the time on learning kind of kicks in. So we would keep those two, and then essentially have one per month, end of April towards the end of May, June 11th, and then the last day of school is typically an early release day, and we would keep that. That would be the change. Every other day, every other Friday that's not listed there becomes a full day. I will dare to show you the revised draft of the calendar. It looks like a rainbow has gone through a blender. When the high school does shift to full time, let's assume that's the beginning of May, we can then obviously remove A and B weeks and get rid of the bright yellow and the light blue, which will make things certainly easier. So the green, as you'll see, the brighter green signifies the half days. So from this point forward, if the committee approves the calendar change, we'd have one this Friday on the 26th, next Friday, and then the very last Friday in April, the 21st of May, the 11th, and then that the last day. So that's obviously going to be used for planning. It's basically going to provide almost a relief valve for us. In a normal year, we're struggling with enough substitutes to cover all of the meetings, IEP meetings, planning meetings, what have you, transition meetings. We have a lot going on every spring. This year is going to be especially challenging for numerous reasons, but for the purpose of this conversation, the fact that we don't really have subs right now, we have a handful for the entire district. In a typical year, we're going to have dozens on a daily basis. So we're going to have to be as creative as we possibly can be to make this all work. But at least once a month, we're hoping to be able to use those half days as we can. It might be for professional development, but I'm guessing 99 times out of 100, we're going to be using that to make up time that we couldn't capture as we typically would within the context of a typical week. Although we're going to be back in person, it's still going to be far from typical. We're aware of that. In June, hopefully we'll have more subs in mid to late June with kids coming back. We hope. So that's where we stand now, and I can take any questions you might have on the calendar.
Thank you. Just a point of clarification on the last slide showing the whole calendar on the under June on the right where it has the description and it says June 23rd, 170th student day with no snow days.
No additional snow days. I can put that in there.
I would recommend that. That might cause some confusion later down the road.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Other than that, it looks good to me.
Amy.
This is the last time, right, Jay?
Yeah,
Hey.
I hope so. The calendar is always a bear, but nothing like, oh my gosh, nothing like this year. If this is approved by the committee, obviously, tomorrow morning, we've got this draft will become the real thing as opposed to a revised draft. I would share it in a newsletter tomorrow morning with the community, and it would be live on the website as well.
Did you have a question, Amy, or that was the question?
That was it.
That was it. All right. And that was my question, was how is this going to be communicated? So thanks for taking care of this. I hope, I hope that our teachers are still able to get what they need with the planning and yeah. But thank you for all the work. Rahul.
Yeah, just answering Amy, we might see one more because Jay has to remove the yellow and the blue cohorts.
I don't think we'll have to vote on that, though.
Yeah, you won't have to vote on that. I'll just gladly do that.
Good point, though, Rahul.
I might want it brought back just to make sure. All right. Well, then, if any other questions, comments? With that, I'll take a vote. Do we need them? We do. We need
anything calendar, you really should.
I will take a motion to approve the calendar.
I make a, oh, okay.
Oh,
No,
go ahead,
I make a motion to approve the revised calendar as presented.
Second.
Motion been seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote. Jennifer Conley.
Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Amy Marr.
Amy Marr, aye.
Liz Spinney.
Aye.
Rahul Rashid.
Rahul Rathi, aye.
Laura Often. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. There's a question.
It's anonymous.
Okay. Also, we've just approved the calendar, so yeah, I think we're going to move on is what we're going to do and go on to a district update.
All right, I don't have too much in terms of the district update. Kristen and I attended a meeting with, hold on a second, with the commissioner in Desi today. We were expecting or kind of hoping for some clarification on a bunch of things from MCAS to high school return. There were there's a whole list of things we're kind of waiting on more guidance on, and we didn't receive any of that today, but a lot of talk about more guidance coming in the next week or two. So I'm going to just touch on and go over where we stand with hybrid to full in person, touch on where we stand with MCAS, and I wanted just to share some positive news about DECA. So grades 2 and 3, hybrid students are going to return to full-time in-person schooling on March 29th. And then on the 5th of April, we've got 4, 5, and 6 returning. And then 3 days after, on the 28th, right after April break, we have grades 7 and 8 returning. DESE has not yet announced when grades 9 through 12 students are going to be returning to full-time in-person schooling. We met, myself and Kristen Gasper today met with high school leadership and continued to work through the challenges that are laying ahead in terms of moving grades 9 through 12 back. We do expect that's going to be in early May, but that's nothing more than our best thinking and our assumption at this point. With MCAS, again, there's been a lot of talk, but nothing official that has come out about MCAS beyond grades 3, 4, and 5, testing between May 10th and June 11th. Right now, RLA is scheduled to be in person for testing. The Friday change in terms of not having all of those days presents some new variables for us. It was by no means a definite, but having the option to have RLA students go into the schools on the Friday afternoons when we didn't have school in person on the early release days, that was an option that obviously is largely taken off the table now with the change. So we're going to have to figure out how we bring RLA students into the building, how we make that work on top of the existing challenges that we have in terms of spacing, et cetera. So grades 6 through high school hasn't been determined. And there's talk about the test being in the spring. There's still talk about testing being pushed into the fall. We will see. It's nothing but a lot of talk right now about MCAS. In terms of vaccination access to K-12 staff through our partnership with the Worcester Health Alliance, there are 4 vaccination clinics coming up over the next few weeks that have been made open to our pre-K through 12 staff. We have a number of staff who have already signed up to participate on a daily basis. I'm hearing about our staff getting their first and their second shot. So there's been a lot of activity, and it was nice the ideal would have been to offer it in Grafton, would have been obviously great. This is through Worcester State University. So not ideal, but the next best thing. So that's been made accessible and is up and running. And then finally, I wanted to just highlight the work that DECA, which is High School Business Club, has done. The advisor is Mr. Maxwell. They recently participated in the state competition that we talk about every year. This year, it had to be done online, which understandably was just added a new dimension and made it a little more challenging in some ways. We had a number of top 10 finishers, more than ever before, listed before you. And we also had Ryan Eddy, Sean Palmer, and Brian Salvatelli finish in the top 5. With that top 5 performance, they qualify to attend. It will be virtual, but they'll attend the International DECA Conference that's going to be based out of Anaheim, California in May. So I simply wanted to say congratulations. I really admire their perseverance through all the different challenges associated with running a club and participating in this big, very challenging event online. They made it look easy, and they did, as always, exceptionally well. So congratulations to everybody in DECA and, of course, Mr. Maxwell. And I can take any questions you may have about this stuff or anything else.
Rahul.
Jay, the vaccination, is it only for the permanent staff or also for the substitute teachers?
I don't believe, I do have an email that question came up 3 times to me in the last few days. I reached out. I don't believe the substitutes qualify. It's our full and part-time staff, but I don't believe subs are included.
In that arena, they're not included, but in the state, they can make appointments for vaccinations.
Right.
It's just through the Worcester state they can't.
Yep.
Amy.
So I just wanted to confirm that we're going to get 2 weeks notice from DESE as to when we have to have all the high school students back in, and your team is going to be ready. That's the plan.
Yes and yes. They reiterated that today. They did confirm that. They're obviously getting a lot of pressure to give us statewide, give us a date. The commissioner pointed out, and rightfully so, they said they would tell us in April. They'd announce it in April with 2 weeks notice, and it's still March. So he's got a point. So everybody's going to try to be patient for another week or two, and we are going to be as prepared as possible.
Jen, I saw your hand up before Liz's. Did you still have a question?
I was just thinking about the reopening do we have thoughts on how, I know you said we have enough room on the buses, but since we don't do the car passes this year, will there be enough parking spots?
A good question that was worked through today. I don't have a definitive solution yet, but I don't want to step on Mr. Pignataro's toes, but we laid out a plan for that.
Okay.
In the end, I mean, we have a finite number of spaces. There's no question about that. So we are going to, we don't have to start from scratch. They have a lot of the information already, but we will figure out a way, probably with a preference for seniors, being that they're going to be there for most of May, and then juniors, which would not be out of line with what we've done historically. Put together a process, be it lottery, what have you, assuming, well, we only need a lottery if the number of requests exceed the number of spaces. But we will have a plan in place, and we will put out parking passes. So it's not going to be a free for all, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Liz.
Thank you. Dr. Cummings, do you have any sense of what is weighing into the commissioner's decision on the date, and why that he hasn't been able to come out with that yet? What's the holdup in figuring that out? What are they waiting on? Or is there information they're waiting on, or do you have any sense of that at all?
I don't know. When asked today, this won't be a quote. The answer was that they're being sensitive to the needs of districts in terms of wanting to have it be a progressive, paced out rollout. Didn't go beyond that. In many districts, the fact that we're on one campus, like we could probably make it work, especially middle school, being that's 2 grades for us. That's a lot different than some of the larger districts in Framingham, where you have 3 schools of 1,000+ kids. Just getting over that hurdle is that's a huge hurdle for a lot of districts. A lot of districts have a lot of space issues in the middle school as well. So my guess, and it's nothing more than a guess, is that the state is sensitive to that, is trying to at least give districts a chance to plan to get over that big hurdle and then figure out high school. But that's really just my thinking as opposed to anything I've been told.
And then, oh,
If you want to finish your question, you can go ahead.
no, it was another comment, so. Up to the
Liz,
chair.
go ahead, and then we can have James talk.
Okay, well, I just had one question or comment to the committee. I was wondering if it would be appropriate for us to write a letter from the committee, a letter of congratulations to DECA, to the people who won and were going to state. Is that something anybody would that be appropriate for us to do?
So normally we would have them in and they would get certificates from the district, which I'm going to guess Jay could do that. So it's not that I don't want to celebrate them, because I absolutely do. And like I said, I think we would normally, and we still could have them, invite them next time and do a little hurrah. We don't do that for every sports team that goes to states or every club, but we usually like to do like a hurrah here, and they come and we present them with they get a certificate signed by Jay, and we do like I'm going to say like a hoo-ha, or like, I don't know what the word is. So I like your thinking.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to think of something to substitute for that sort of thing.
But I don't see why we couldn't. Amy, what do you think?
We could still give them certificates. We could invite
I
them
know.
to the next
Yeah.
call, but I think at the very least, we can give them the certificates. I'm sure Jay sees them all when they walk into school, so you just hand them out in the crosswalk. Super ceremonial, I know, but I mean, maybe we give them to Mr. Maxwell and he gives them to the students. I don't know, but I feel like we could at least do that.
Jay, would that be, that's something kind of on you? Would that be something we could work? Like, let's pretend we would have invited them, because we would have, and we still can. I just think it's a little much to log onto the little awkward, but I like the certificate idea.
Yep, we can do that.
Yeah, good thought. James.
Yeah, so back to the reopening plan. There was some rumors going around the high school this week that Remote Learning Academy would be shut down once schools reopen, and I just wanted to confirm that. I didn't think it would be, but
Nope. I appreciate you bringing it up. I heard plenty of rumors. I didn't hear that one. 100% false. RLA will run pre-K through 12 through the remainder of the year.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions? Amy.
I know Jay loves a hypothetical, so here we go. I saw in the news that Swampscott High School has gone from, I believe they were on a hybrid, or they might have been in full, I don't remember, and they are now full remote for 2 weeks. And as of right now, under DESE's time on learning guidelines, everything counts. Everything counts for high schools until that magic date that DESE has yet to give us, that all the kids have to be back in full time. So what happens if, let's say we send all the high schoolers back May 1st, May 10th, we have 25, 30, 40 positive COVID tests and have to go remote for 2 weeks. Has DESE said how they're going to deal with the time on learning requirement now that they've told us that the learning won't count unless it's RLA or in school? That's my question.
A little bit in that meeting that I mentioned today that came up. I'm sure nobody brought up Swampscott in particular, but that general question came up. In a nutshell, the guidance, obviously not in writing yet, was if a district is faced with that, they contact DESE, which wouldn't be unusual. We haven't been faced with that, but if we ever are or were in the past, we would contact DESE. We know who to contact. We know who to work through. I would assume that Swampscott or any district that's facing that is going to be provided some sort of waiver that's in conjunction with whatever moves are taken. That's without a doubt, that's my assumption.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Any other questions or comments or concerns? All right. Great. Well, thank you, Jay. Thanks for that update. And speaking of MCAS, 2 weeks ago, we discussed passing a resolution with kind of our support on, our support to not hold the MCAS this year. And Liz graciously volunteered, and she put together a fantastic letter that was in the drive. Liz, do you want to share your screen, or how would you like me to?
I can share it.
Okay. But she did a fantastic job, so thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh, terrific. And there it is. I think I have school committee letterhead we can copy and paste it on.
Okay.
Which I should have caught earlier, but that's no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I figured you'd have that, and we would well, just copy and paste.
Yeah.
I think I tried to squeeze it in on one page just to put it in someone's hand and make that easier. So might have to bring the font down to 8 or something to put the letterhead on there. But hopefully you've all had a chance to read this letter. Back in, was it November? I think it was October, before the meeting, before the MASC meeting, we voted to approve the give authority to Amy, who was our delegate, to support a resolution through MASC to call for the suspension of MCAS testing this year. So we voted on that back in the fall, and then, like Laura said last week, we talked about putting this letter together and talking about it at our meeting today. Hopefully you've all had a chance to read it. If you have any questions about the content or anything, let me know.
Amy?
I just wanted to say, this is one of the best letters like this that I've read. I've read quite a few. I like how there's multiple reasons why we're asking for this waiver. And as I said last week, this testing isn't going to tell us any information we don't already know, and we're not already going to have by the end of the year. By the time we get this data, the students will all have moved on. It'll be late fall by the time we can even do anything with the data that we do get. So in terms of, we need to know where the students are in order to catch them up, which I have said repeatedly, I don't like to look at it that way. Sure, there are standards and benchmarks, but this idea that the kids are behind, it's just adding stress to the situation that the students don't need, the teachers don't need. Every student's going to get where they need to be. It's not going to happen right away, but it's going to happen, and we just have to have faith in the process and faith in the assessments that our teachers are already giving to the students. They know where the kids are. They know. And they're already taking steps to intercede with students who are, once again, falling behind. And I unequivocally support this letter, and I think it's high time that the state and the federal Department of Education listen to educators and school committee members and parents, and just put this on hold for another year.
Thank you, Amy. Any other questions or comments? Liz, you have a
Well, I just want to clarify for everyone listening, in case people didn't know, the way to go about doing this is for us to reach out to the governor, the commissioner, and our representatives in the State House to ask for Massachusetts to have a waiver for standardized testing this year. So, it's not something that we can decide on our own, and it's not necessarily something that the governor can decide, but this is why the first paragraph says that we're asking them to seek a waiver, or to seek and obtain a waiver from the U.S. Department of Education, who has mandated that we have to move forward with these this year. And the other thing that I found interesting in doing my research and putting this letter together was the amount of funding that is spent on MCAS testing. I came across the contract. I think it was a 5-year contract for MCAS testing, and it turns out it amounts to $30 million a year to the MCAS testing provider. So I think this year we can find better uses for that much money.
Well said. Any other questions? Terrific. Well, I'll echo Amy. I thought this was a fantastic letter. I'm in full support of it as well. With that, I will take a motion.
I make a motion to accept the letter for the Grafton School Committee request for moratorium on MCAS as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Amy, did I see a hand?
Yes, I just have one thing to say for everybody watching, and that is that you could do this too. Your representatives need to hear from you, and not just at the state level. You can also ask Senator Warren and Senator Markey and Representative McGovern. You can email them through their websites. They can lean on the new Secretary of Education. Every little bit helps. So if you're passionate about this, you can take a stand too. You don't just have to wait for us to do it.
All right, well said. This will be a roll call vote. Jennifer Conley.
Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Amy Marr.
Amy Marr, aye.
Elizabeth Spinney.
Aye.
Rahul Rati.
Rahul Rati, aye.
Laura Often, aye. Motion carried 5-0. Liz, do you want me to take care of? I can take care of sending it, or?
Sure. Yeah, I'll just change the unanimous in brackets to unanimous. And
Great. I'll pop it on some letterhead and get it out.
all right. Yep. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for putting that letter together. It's terrific. So thank you, and fingers crossed. Great. Moving forward to future agenda schedule planning. So we're coming up on April. We're going to have lots of district updates. We'll have the remote learning for the secondary school. Jay will work, and he is going to have his evaluation ready, I think by our next meeting per our policy revision. And then you'll be getting directions on how to begin that process through TeachPoint. And that's in May when we'll do that. But I just wanted to let you know that he and I touched base on that today, and we'll get going with that to make sure we're on deadline. Anything else you want to see coming up in April? It's going fast. We don't have that many meetings before the end of the school year. We don't have that many meetings with James left. So let's celebrate James as much as we can. Okay, we have a few approval of minutes. We have our public hearing minutes. Then we have the regular meeting. I think this was for February 23rd. And then we have the executive session minutes, which I put into the drive late today. I apologize. But Amy did a great job on those, and they're not too complicated, but if anybody has concerns, we can hold off. But if not, I think we can move forward to approve them.
I make a motion to approve the budget hearing from February 23rd, 2021 as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. This will be a roll call vote. Jennifer Conley.
Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Amy Marr.
Amy Marr, aye.
Elizabeth Spinney.
Aye.
Rahul Rati.
Aye.
Laura Often, aye. Motion carries 5-0. And if there's not any discussion, we can probably bundle the other two. And I mean, even if there is, you can just call out.
I make a motion to approve or to accept the meeting minutes from February 23rd, 2021, and the executive session meeting minutes from February 23rd, 2021, as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion, Liz?
I didn't get in before, but I did have a question just about the end of the executive session minutes. It says that executive session was adjourned twice at 2 different times.
Sorry, I'm just looking.
One was intended to be the
Oh, probably into regular session.
regular session. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think we can amend that.
Okay.
Gotcha. And, all right, with that amendment, I think it's, and Amy, thank you for getting those done so quickly. And now we're caught up on executive session minutes, which is really great. You okay?
Yeah, I figured it out. It is. We adjourned executive session and then we adjourned the regular meeting. But my respectfully submitted somehow is in the wrong spot. So.
It could have been when I downloaded it to Word and then uploaded it back again.
There we
I was
go.
having trouble with the Google Drive. So that's
better.
okay.
I mean, there's a big, long thing there. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. I fixed it.
Okay. All right.
Usually it's just a word thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did it, like I said, I did it quickly because I realized after Amy asked me where they were that I had forgotten to upload them. Okay. So we
Thanks,
have a
Liz.
motion and a second and an amendment where we're going to edit those and we'll take a vote. Jennifer Conley,
Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Amy Marr,
Amy Marr, aye.
Liz Spinney,
Aye.
Rahul Rati,
All right, yeah.
and Laura Austin, aye. All right, motion carries. Terrific. And now we're going to hear from Anita about the ECM project update.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Anita.
So I had a meeting with the town administrator yesterday, just to bring them up to speed regarding train and the project plans that we have with them. And he is going to put forth two articles for the annual town meeting warrant. The first one's going to be, it's going to authorize the select board to enter into a contract with train not to exceed the $2 million. And just to go over it again, the $2 million is for 3 different projects for the Grafton Middle School. It's for the HVAC, it's for the new controls, and it's for the building envelope. And then the second article would authorize the select board to enter into a financing agreement for a term not to exceed 20 years. So that means that we would end up doing a borrowing most likely. We had talked about the best way to do the financing, and he had suggested perhaps doing a ban, which is a short-term borrowing, and then to roll it into a permanent bond. With that said, I had asked him how we would, what his thoughts are on going about paying for that bond payment annually. And we had gone back and forth regarding to see if we would we would be discussing with CIPC to see if the bond payment would be coming out of our CIPC allocation. So he said that that would have to be a discussion that we would have to have with them directly and with Jay and Evan as well. Right now, as it stands for a $2 million project, the annual bond payment would be around $127,000. On the call as well, there was Leah Cameron was on the call as well. She's in charge of the Green Communities Grant. And she's going to be putting in a grant application on behalf of the Grafton Public Schools. There's only 2 departments right now in town that are seeking monies from Green Communities. It's us and one other department. And so the grant, the entire amount of the Green Communities Grant is $200,000, and about $188,000 would come to us.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Amy. You're on mute, Amy.
No, I knew I was on mute. I was looking for the unmute button. My window had slid over and I couldn't find it. Thank you so much, Anita. This has been a long process for everybody, and we've had lots of ideas and lots of options, and you have been here from the beginning helping us through it. The only question I have is it normal for that contract to be signed by the selectmen rather than the school district?
So it wouldn't be, so I believe that what they want to do is it would be the contract that we would sign in order to do the work itself, like once
Okay.
the financing project comes through. So it would be that contract.
Okay.
So the original contract that we had to enter into a contract with Train, that was already signed by Dr. Cummings already.
Okay. that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's been signed already.
Okay. So we would not be responsible. The article at town meeting would not be coming from the school committee. It would be coming from Evan.
Correct.
Okay. Both of them. 2 articles. Okay.
2 articles.
Any other questions? I had a kind of a question, I guess a process question. So is Evan then going to present to we haven't talked to the select board about this, right? We went to CIPC, but did we ever talk about it with the select board? I can't remember. I don't think we have. So
It stalled when we were talking to the temporary TA, and I don't think we brought it up to the board.
I'm wondering if we need to go and talk about this. I guess I'm just trying to think of the town meeting and kind of the process and advocating for this. Because people are going to hear it. It's a lot of money. Like I'm wondering if we should maybe at least go to the select board. Amy, and I know Liz, you have a question or comment too.
Well, there will be a meeting that the select board holds where they go through the entire warrant.
Right.
I would think that we would be called upon at that meeting to speak about it. And Jay and Anita would be there, and that they would speak in favor of it. But the actual presentation at town meeting, you're right, it wouldn't be us, it would be Evan.
Right. So just want to make sure we're, I guess, all just on the same page. So I'll make sure I just touch base with Mr. Carlson and then to see if there's questions. Liz, did you have a thought?
What was I going to say?
Or question? I
need referenced our CIPC allocation. What is that? Do we have a specific allocation?
So we don't exactly have a specific allocation, but from looking at previous fiscal years, it looks like that the school department ends up getting anywhere between $280,000 and like $400,000. So I specifically asked if our bond payment would come out of that, or if it would be in addition, but he said that we would have to talk about that in the future, because I don't think that he could give me a definitive answer while we were on a Zoom meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
I think that next step is myself and Anita sitting down with Evan and working through, like, basically Evan got a crash course in this project on Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah, Monday. And that next step is us, giving him a little time to process things, and then having a follow-up discussion. After that discussion, which I would expect to take place before the next meeting, I can obviously, with Anita, update the committee.
Yeah, that would be great. I feel like we just have a couple of steps that I feel like I'm missing on just what's going to happen. And
oh yeah,
this is so, I think I don't want this to get so technical that we miss on how important this is to try to get this funding, especially to help that middle school system that is so expensive. And this is such a great way and a cost-effective way to replace it. Liz.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited about this. I've been asking about it every other meeting for a while. So my other question was, in the original letter that we had, I think it was to CIPC back in September, we had mentioned using cost savings from utilities to sort of subsidize some of this cost, or is that still being taken into account or not?
It is. It is. So the actual bond payment over the 20 years will be $127,000, and that's taken into account all of the cost savings that we'll have.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you, Anita, so much for all your hard work on this and going through the process. And I'm excited to see what happens next. And anything that we can do to help pass this project and to get it through, let us know.
Thank you.
Terrific. All right, and we don't have a warrant tonight, so I'm going to move on to policy. Liz and I just have a few pretty quick policies, hopefully, that we can go through. So Liz, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. May I share my screen?
You may.
Thank you.
Please.
Okay. one is it? I always have all these up, but it's so.
I know. It's worse in Teams. Teams is like the worst to try to share your screen. I
I
found.
don't want to share the wrong thing. That would not be good.
And today I was on a meeting and I was making like a face because I was doing something and I got called out.
Oh, yeah?
I know, surprising that I would make a face.
Okay, 1 second. Okay. That, open that. All right. I had to switch screens behind me so I can actually see it. Okay, here we go.
Thank you.
My old tired eyes just can't see the little writing when I'm trying to pick the little thumbnails to show you the right screen. Okay, so we had 4 that we reviewed at our last meeting, and the first one was for a second reading. We talked about it last week. It was about the student and parent handbook, so we're offering that for a second reading this time. Yeah, no changes to this. We just hope everyone's had a chance to look at it and think about it, or go from there.
All right, any questions? All right, let's see, wait, who's on my other screen? Okay. All right, I'll take a motion.
I make a motion to accept policy CH, can't read that, CA, approval of student parent handbook as presented, or as a second reading.
Motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thanks, Amy. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Jen Conley?
Jen Connolly, aye.
Amy Marr?
Amy Marr, aye.
Liz Spinney?
Aye.
Rahul Rati?
Aye.
Laura Often, aye. Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Next, CHCB, Faculty and Staff Handbooks. This is a very short policy, but just provides that the school district maintains faculty handbooks, which they are doing. And the question was whether we wanted those to be distributed to the school committee members annually. And we elected to change that to upon request rather than requiring them to send them to us annually because we didn't feel that that was necessary. And that was the only change that we were suggesting.
Any questions? Amy?
So is this not the kind of thing that should be on the district website? Are there reasons for that? Is it on the district website? I mean, I guess my question is, why do we have to worry about distributing it?
Well, we have to make sure the staff gets their handbook. So they have like an employee handbook that should go to them. I don't see why it would need to be on the district website, an employee handbook.
I don't think it is, but yeah, it's available to them.
Okay.
And it used to say that we would get them annually. I've never gotten one, so we changed it to if somebody on the committee wanted one, then they should be provided it.
Okay.
Does that? Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. I'll take a motion. We can either take this as a first reading or we can take this as presented.
I make a motion to accept CHCB faculty staff handbooks as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Jen Conley?
Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Amy Marr?
Amy Marr, aye.
Liz Spinney?
Aye.
Rahul Rati?
Aye.
Laura Often, aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one is CHD, Administration and Policy Absence. This was a policy that, interestingly, had appeared to disappear somehow. A different policy was linked to on our website, and the actual policy we might or might not have had on file could not be found. So this is modeled after the MASC suggested policy, and provides that when where we don't have a specific policy addressing some action that the superintendent finds he or she needs to take, then the superintendent will have the power to do that. But at the same time, we also have the authority to review any of those decisions after the fact. And the only difference from the MASC policy is that we changed committee to school committee.
Any questions? No? Okay. We can take this as presented.
I make a motion to accept policy CHD administration and policy absence as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Jen Conley,
Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Elizabeth Spinney,
Aye.
Amy Marr,
Aye.
Rahul Rati,
aye.
and Laura Often, aye. Motion carries. Just trying to keep you all on your toes to go out of order quickly.
All right, thank you. Last one for tonight, policy number CI, temporary administrative arrangements. This just provides for the superintendent to designate someone to preside as acting superintendent, and also the same equivalent with the principal, being able to designate a staff member in the principal's absence. And we clean this up to make it more, what's the word, Laura?
Inclusive.
Inclusive, thank you. Sorry, tired, long day.
Yeah. You're doing great, thank you.
Inclusive. And I had to put that definition of designee in there. You can't use capital terms without defining them earlier in the document. So those were the only changes that we made to this one.
Any questions on this one? Amy?
Yeah, where's Jay going?
Sometimes he goes on vacation.
What's a vacation, Laura?
And dark times he had surgery once, and that was sad, scary times. But just in case. All right, besides any other questions? Jay, any questions or comments on this?
Nope, looks good to me.
All right. We can take this as presented as well.
I make a motion to accept policy section CI, temporary administrative arrangements as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Jennifer Conley? Jen?
Oh, Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Amy Marr?
Amy Marr, aye.
Elizabeth Spinney?
Aye.
Rahul Rati?
Aye.
Laura Often? Aye. All right, motion carries 5-0. All right, thank you so much, Liz. And we will move into member reports. Do we have any updates from the members? No? All right. Oh, Amy, you have one?
I have one small thing, and you did it too, so I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but the GCTV and Evan and Mr. Blake from the town have asked the people record a little ditty about your mask and why you wear it. And they're putting the little clips online, and I believe they're airing them on the cable station as well. So I went down and I filmed one, and Laura went and filmed one. It only takes a few minutes. You go in, you get a little nervous. Bob turns the camera on, you say your thing, and you show them your mask. And it's a really cute little segment, reminding everybody in town to stay safe and continue wearing masks. I know a lot of people are really jonesing to get out of this pandemic, and the light's at the end of the tunnel, but we can't slack off just yet. We've got to keep wearing our masks and socially distancing. And so it's a way to both introduce some of the folks in town to one another, but also to relay that important message. So anybody can do it. You don't have to be a public official. You just contact Bob. I know he's recording this right now. Maybe he'll put an email address on the screen. And you just set up a little time with him to go down, show him your mask. It's really cool.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, I missed a huge opportunity. I'm going to hopefully go back and do it again, but my opportunity was to say to wear a mask often, and I missed it because I was so excited about my Wonder Woman mask. So Maybe I'll do another one. My other update, actually, Amy reminded me, is I got to take a tour of the library, and Dana Wilson, who is on the library trustee, she's library trustee, she wanted me to extend the invitation to any of you who wants to. I mean, anybody I think in the public can, but she specifically mentioned school committee members. So you can reach out to her. If you need her contact information, I can forward it to you, and take a tour. I'm very excited. I think we're going to have a lot of opportunities to be able to partner with the library, and extend our education after school hours. It's great. There's a huge teen room and the children's room and STEM opportunities. It's amazing. So I really hope to see it kind of as an arm of the schools. Any other, Liz?
Okay, this is not, I didn't do this as a member necessarily, but it sort of relates to the school. I just wanted to let people know that conveniently, the farmers market this summer, at least in the month of June, is going to be located at the municipal center. So teachers and staff want to come and visit the farmers market right after school, it will be right there for them.
Cool.
Yeah. Since this is because the construction on the common that's starting in June as well. So it will be there for at least a few months, and we'll just wait and see on the rest of the time.
Jen, did you have an update?
I have a question for James and Annabelle. It was more like the announcement came out that there's no prom. I was wondering if the students had any thoughts on this, and also if we know anything about Grafton Gator mascot coming along.
About the mascot, I haven't heard anything. All I've seen so far is that we've covered up like a lot of the old Indian like mascots around the school, like on the gym floor that was covered up. But on prom, I haven't heard much about like I know the plan was to go to the DCU center, but we couldn't do that because it's still a field hospital and we could only have 100 people. So I guess if we can't do it outside, then I don't know. I don't think it would be possible. So nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, I think the prom situation is just unfortunate that we can't have it this year, or most likely will not. And as for the Grafton Gators, there's not much going on with that, I don't think. I do see some signs in the hallway that say like stay one gator apart because it's like 6 feet. But other than that, not much other than covering the Indian, like James said. Yeah.
Can you take a picture of that and send that to us? Because that's hilarious.
Yeah, of course.
I'd ask my own daughter, but she won't.
All right. She'll do it. All right. Any other reports, Amy?
I did want to echo the sentiment that the prom is unfortunate, but it sounds to me like Bon Voyage Committee is going to move forward with something for the students on graduation evening, which is very encouraging. We weren't able to do anything last year. And I'm not sure what that is or what it's going to look like. I know I'm signed up to volunteer, but I'm happy that we're at least going to be able to do something to say goodbye to our seniors and keep them safe, hopefully. Because in case those of you who aren't familiar, the point of the Bon Voyage party is to keep the students safe, keep them from going to parties and drinking and unfortunate things happening on graduation night. So I'll see you there, James.
I'll see you there. And to add to that, for the Bon Voyage, we are doing the Krispy Kreme donut sale. So if anybody wants a dozen donuts, just let me know.
And on top of that, there's also if you want to purchase the sign, the yard signs for the class of 2021, it's not just for your own senior. If you just donate it, they'll put them throughout the common or throughout town. So.
Great, thank you. All right, any other member reports? Okay, no correspondence. We don't need to go into executive session. So I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All right. Jen Conley? Oh,
Jennifer
it's
Conley,
good that we're
aye.
leaving. Amy Marr,
Aye.
Elizabeth Spinney,
Aye.
Rahul Rati,
I.
and Laura Often aye. Oh, that was awful. Great. Well, everybody have a great night, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.